Joe and Ben sort of agree that there are some historical reasons why things became commandments in the Old Testament, for example. They agree that there are some historical realities at the time which explain to us, like, for example, the Bible mentions man shall not lie with another man, or whatever the phrase is. I don't even care. But the line that's pointed to, that people point to as saying homosexuality is bad, that wasn't in the Bible because the people who wrote the Bible thought in 1,000 years maybe there will be gay people. It was there because they saw gay people at the time and they decided we're going to put something in the Bible about it. Okay, the example doesn't really matter, but the idea is the Bible reflects things that were happening at the time. So Joe Rogan brings up a sort of naturalistic explanation for why eating pork is not okay in Judaism. It's also not okay in Islam. The same analysis would sort of apply, related to the cooking temperature of pork and bacteria and whatever. You'll hear it in a second. And Ben Shapiro says very clearly he doesn't like naturalistic explanations for this stuff. Check it out and pay really close attention here to what Ben Shapiro says.
Like, the very reason to have a commandment is because certain people in your community are behaving in a particular way, presumably.
Right.
There's no commandment not to take your head and shove it in a meat grinder.
Well, this is also the argument against pork, is because they didn't understand trichinosis. They didn't understand you have to cook the meat to 145 degrees and pork parasites, which are very dangerous for people.
So I'm not a huge fan of naturalistic explanations for religion.
Don't you think that's a good one, though, for pork?
I mean, I don't know. Like, I think you could make an argument, maybe.
Okay. Ben Shapiro says very clearly he's against naturalistic explanations for religion, meaning he doesn't like explaining religious precepts with sort of real-world justifications from nature. Ben Shapiro said very clearly he's against that. Fine. So then about 90 seconds go by. Okay, this next clip is from 90 seconds after what I just played for you. And Ben Shapiro gives a naturalistic explanation for Moses parting the Red Sea. He just said he's not into naturalistic explanations, and here he gives a naturalistic explanation 90 seconds later.
Do you think he was resurrected?
No, that's not a Jewish belief.
Okay, I just want to check.
Yeah, no, we're not into
You're not
we're not
into
into miracle
zombies?
stories. No, that's
No?
not, no.
You don't have any miracles?
No,
in here?
not by Jesus. Right?
No?
They're ones
But
in the Old
God
Testament.
ones?
Yeah, you've got Moses splitting the sea and all that.
What do you think happened there?
What do I think happened there?
Yeah.
Well, I'll go with the Maimonidean explanation that there was, it says in the Bible there was a strong east wind. So there was a naturalistic explanation for a physical phenomenon.
That makes sense.
I mean, that's what Maimonides is constantly trying to do, is read nature back into the Bible.
Yeah.
He says it's the miracle of Moses parting the Red Sea, and he naturalistically explains it, wind in the Red Sea area, which is a very common naturalistic explanation for the parting of the Red Sea in the Old Testament, which he just said he's not in favor of. He's not in favor of those types of explanations, except all of a sudden when he is. And this reminds me of naturalistic explanations for Noah's Ark. If you talk to some religious people about Noah's Ark, they'll say, no, we've sort of identified where there were floods at the time based on geological records, and here is how it all could have worked, so on and so forth. Never explains how some of the species need salt water and some need fresh water, and how did they get all of that onto the ark for the time it had to be there. It doesn't explain how there are carnivorous animals, and if you only had 2 of each species, didn't any of them get eaten? Did you start with more than 2 and they were eaten down to 2? Or did carnivorous animals get fed some kind of soylent or vegan diet during? None of that stuff is explained, but at least the specifics of the flood are sometimes explained naturalistically with Noah's Ark. This is the same thing here, naturalistically explaining the parting of the Red Sea after saying he doesn't like naturalistic explanations.